Let's talk about something that's a nightmare scenario for anyone in crypto. What happens when your digital assets get stolen? You'd think there's a clear path to getting them back, right? Well, it turns out it's not just a technical problem. It's a full-blown legal maze, and the path you end up on can change everything. So just imagine it for a second. The worst happens. Your wallet is compromised. Your funds, they're just gone. You've been hacked. That immediate gut punch feeling sets in, and the one question screaming in your head is, now what? Where do you even start? And this, right here, is where things get really, really messy, because there is no single answer. Your chances of actually recovering that stolen crypto can completely flip depending on which country's courthouse you walk into. Yep, jurisdiction is now the name of the game.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, let's look at two major financial hubs that have taken completely different forks in the road, Singapore and the United Kingdom. Their recent court rulings have literally created two separate realities for victims of crypto theft.
This lays it out perfectly. On one side, you have Singapore, which has carved out what you could call an assertive path. It's a really practical, direct route for people trying to get their assets back. Then you have the UK, which has set a much, much higher bar, and it almost feels like a stern warning to anyone who's been a victim.
All right, let's start with Singapore, because they've built a pretty powerful system for recovery. And the absolute key to their whole approach is a legal concept that sounds fancy, but is a total game changer, classifying crypto as a chose in action.
So what on earth is a chose in action? It's basically a legal right to something of value that you can't physically touch. The best way to think about it is like a legal claim ticket. You don't have the thing itself, but you have an enforceable right to it, and that ticket is what you take to the judge. And here's how that plays out so effectively. First, the court says your stolen crypto is a chosen action, your legal claim ticket. That one move creates a direct shortcut to establishing a trust over those assets. And from there, the court can grant an immediate proprietary remedy, which is just a formal way of saying they can declare the assets are legally yours and order them returned. Simple as that.
So the bottom line in Singapore is this. If you can actually identify the person or the entity that ripped you off, the court system gives you a clear, strong, and pretty fast way to make things right. It's a solution that's truly built for the asset owner.
Now, let's flip over to the UK. And wow, it is a different world. While Singapore created a direct route, the approach from the English High Court has kind of accidentally created what experts are calling a tracing bottleneck, and it makes proving your case a monumental challenge. You know, tracing bottleneck is the perfect phrase for it, because even if you know your assets were stolen, getting them back through the legal system there is another story. It all comes down to one critical technical detail. And that detail is the omnibus wallet. See, these are massive digital wallets run by exchanges where your funds get all mixed together with thousands or even millions of other users' money. The analogy here is spot on. Once your stolen crypto ends up in one of these, proving which specific coins are yours is like trying to find your single drop of water in an entire swimming pool. And because of that big, mixed-up pool of assets, the English court has basically said that to get your property back, you need to come to them with nearly impossible levels of forensic evidence to trace its exact path. I mean, that sets a bar that is just almost insurmountable for most victims. And let's be really clear here. The UK court isn't debating whether crypto is property. It is. That's settled. The problem is that the court is applying these very old, traditional rules for tracing assets to this very new kind of digital world. And those rules just were not designed for omnibus wallets, creating this huge wall of evidence that most people simply can't climb over. So this is the crucial point. This split between Singapore and the UK has massive, real-world consequences. It means that for anyone working with digital assets, the choice of where you file your lawsuit has suddenly become one of the most critical strategic decisions you could possibly make. So let's just break this down side by side. In Singapore, your crypto is treated as a right. Your main challenge is just finding the bad guy, and your likely outcome is a direct remedy from the court. But in the UK, your crypto is a thing. Your main challenge is trying to trace that specific thing through a giant pool of mixed-up assets. And your likely outcome? Your claim probably fails without some unbelievable level of proof. And this is really the fundamental shift we're seeing. For years, the big legal question was, can we even call crypto property? Well, that question is pretty much answered. The new battle isn't about legal definitions anymore. It's all about evidence. Can you actually prove that those specific assets over there belong to you?
Ultimately, the new front line in the fight to recover stolen digital assets isn't about legal theory. It's about the very practical, very difficult task of meeting a court's demands for evidence. And that's a challenge that looks completely different depending on what part of the world you're in.
Which, of course, leaves us with this huge question for the future. As digital assets become a bigger and bigger part of our financial world, are our legal systems going to adapt and become a reliable shield for owners? Or are they just going to become an even more complex maze where getting justice depends entirely on which door you happen to open?